Okay, variables are nothing but input parameters at the runtime of a query. Okay, means if you see, observe here, now I am running the query, right? I am running the query. By default, it is showing the data for all. By default, it is showing me the data for all. But what the client says is, sometimes he says, okay, I need to provide a customer details for which I want to see the data. I don't know which customer, but on the day, on the specific runtime, okay, I may see the data for C01 or C02, any one customer or multiple customers. So he has a such requirement. He has a such requirement. In those cases, we create the variables. See, so on which object I want to create the variable? I want to say customers. I want to create a variable for customer. Means at the runtime of a query, the user should be able to provide the customers for which they want to see the data. Okay, so drill down here in the left hand side, customer, drill down. If you observe here, there is a folder called characteristics value variable. Characteristics value variable. Okay, so here already I have created one for the last time. Okay, now I want to create a new one. Okay, so how do you do that? Select your folder, right click, new variable, right click, new variable. Okay, fine. Then double click on the variable. What is the variable name? Say customer. Customer. Okay, input. Okay, and variables are different types of variables, and these are the different processing types. Processing types are of four types: manual entry or default value, replacement path, customer exit, and authorization. These are the four types of processing type. Manual entry or default value means user should be able to provide the input parameter for which they want to see the data. You at the runtime of a query, user should be able to provide the values for which they want to see the data. Replacement path. Suppose I have the value somewhere else. I have the value somewhere else, but at the runtime of a query, from that value, it has to calculate. It has to get that value from that place at the runtime of a query. We'll see this example. And then customer exit. Exit is nothing but a web program. Suppose if you want to write any complicated logics to have the filter, to fill up the filter with some values or based on some criteria conditions, then we use customer exit. Then authorization. This is very important in the projects. Suppose I have based on the authorization. Say I have a authorization for plant. Okay, I have a plant. I have say I have a company called Tata. Okay, I have a company called Tata. Under Tata, I have Tata Motors, Tata Steels, Tata Finance, Tata Communications. Tata Communications. I have four different plants. Each plant will have, okay, 1000 is one like this. Okay, say I have Tata as my node. Under this one, I have four. Motors, telecommunication, steels, and say finance. Finance, okay. And this is plant 1000 number, okay, ID, plant ID. This is 2000. This is 3000. This is 4000. Okay, fine. Now I get the data for all the means. If I generate the report, I assume that I have a data like this. Okay, say something like this. Plant total sales. Say plant 1000, total sales is 20 millions. Plant 2000, and this is 18 millions. Plant 3000, this is 25 millions. Plant 4000, this is say 22 millions. Okay, this is my data. Fine. So I have a different users. Over here. Say user 1 here, user 2, user 3, user 4. I have 4 users. Okay, and this is also here. Also I have one user, user 5. This is my head of the person, head of the company. Okay, CEO of the company. Fine. If this user logs in and run this report, he should be able to see the data for all the plants. He should be able to, user 5 should be able to see the data for all the 5. But I will say that if the user 1 logs in and see this report, he should see only the data for his company plant only. Means only he should be able to see the data for plant 1000 only. If user 2, then he should see the data for only plant 2000. User 3 for only 3000. User 4 only for 4000. Okay. These authorizations will be taken care by our basis guy. Okay. And means we create the roles. There is a concept called roles. Okay. Roles. Okay. Roles will be there, and qualifiers. Okay. So I have a role. This role is known as head role. Okay, head, and this role is known as CEO. Okay, so I'll create a 2 different roles. One role is for this one this one, and different qualifiers. And this qualifier is nothing but qualifier 1. Here I'll say, in this qualifier I'll say this query should have access to only 1000, and this qualifier will be assigned to this user 1. Okay, there will be one more qualifier which says only 2000 should show the data. Okay, then that means easier. But if you want to set up the authorization object here like this, okay, for that you have to make sure that your info object should be an authorization object. Okay, double click on this. If you go to Business Explorer, okay, Business Explorer, can you see this option? Authorization relevant. This option should be checked if you want to set up a, means in this case, mana case lo emundala plant info object ki we have to check this option, authorization relevant ane option check chestene you will be having the authorization concept applicable on this particular object. Okay, this checking will be done by us. Okay, and the qualifiers and the roles will be created by our basis guys. We are not responsible for that, but we have to tell them what is my authorization object. Okay, I want to say that, okay, for plant I want to set up a authorization. How many users will be there? How many qualifiers I have to create? Those things, yes, we have to tell based on the business requirement. Okay. Okay, so when user 1 logs in, he should see the data for only plant 100,000. User 2 for only for 2000. User 3 he will see only the data for 3000, and user 4 he will see the data for 4000. And user 5 we give the access for all the plants. Okay, so let me see if there is any roles built here. There's a T called rsec admin. Okay, rsec admin. This is the place where we can find this. Okay, see, these are all my, this is the user, and these are my qualifiers. These are my qualifiers. If you double click on this, okay, this is my qualifier. So here if you see this one, this is the place where we set up the which authorization objective we have to give. Suppose, let's see here, I don't have anything. See, here I have a company info object is there. Okay, and customer number is also there. If you see here, this means star. This means star. Okay, if this means the value is there, means if the user for customer, if you assign this role, he will be able to see the data for this customer, this object. He will be able to see the data only for this particular customer ID only. Suppose there are 10 customer IDs, only this customer ID data will be seen by the user if you assign this role. Okay, so generally we don't do this one, but you should know what is the T code to see the authorization object mapping is rsec admin, rsec admin. Okay, and here once you come here, okay, this is authorization, and if you want to see the authorization relevant object, then click on this authorization maintenance. Okay, this is the authorization. If you search here, see, these are all your different authorization objects. Okay, and if you go to users, click on user wise, which user has an access to which authorization object, that you will be seen in under users, individual users. Give your username and click on display. It will give the list of all the authorizations which are assigned to him. Okay, fine. So that is about the authorization here. Okay, so processing type, there are 4 types: manual entry or default value. That means users should be able to provide the input value at the runtime of a query. Replacement path, it will get the value from the other value at the runtime of a query. I'll give an example for that. And then customer exit means ABAP program, and authorization relevant. If you want to set up the authorization on the base query for the particular object, then we use this one. Okay, so my case is manual entry. Okay, and which object? This is my customer ID. Okay, if you go to details tab here, what do you want? Single value, several single values, interval, selection option, or pre-calculated value set. If you want to give, user should give only one value, then we use a single value. If the user has to give the multiple values, then we give this one. If it is an interval, then we use the interval. So I'll use the multiple single values. Okay, and here variable is optional, mandatory initial value not allowed. Optional means at the runtime of a query, it will pop up a message, provide the customer ID. If you don't provide anything, say continue, then it will give the results for all. That is optional. If it is mandatory, unless until you provide some value, you cannot enter the query. Okay, mandatory initial not value. Okay, this is nothing but again mandatory, but initial value is not. If there is no data for the particular object, then it is not available. So my cases, I'll say first I'll use optional. Okay, and then save it. Save it. Customer. Okay, now drag and drop. Once you create that variable, you have to drag and drop it. You have to drag and drop it. Okay, Okay, customer ID, save the query. Okay, so I'll get the customer and then I'll get the variable as well. Okay, save it. ZP04. Okay, same query. I'll run the query now. RSRT, execute. Right, it is asking for the customer ID. It is asking for the customer ID. Search input. As we have set the multiple values, we can select the C101. Like that, we have to select multiple values. C111. Then run. So now it will show me the data for this one. Right? Okay. Right. Right. It is showing for all the three. That is nothing but my variable. Okay. 1 minute, guys. I'll stop sharing. I want to just open something here. Okay. If you see the variable types of variables. You have this. I have sent you one document, right? There are 5 types of variables: text variables, formula variable, characteristics variables. Just I want to give the explanation for that also. See, these are the 5 types of variables. Okay, characteristics value variable. Okay, characteristics value variable, hierarchy node variable, text variable, formula variable, and hierarchy variable. Okay, so these are the 5 types of variables we can have it. Hierarchy node means at what level you want to see the data. So if it is characteristics is the normal only, CID, PID means whatever characteristics is. Okay. If it is hierarchy, say I have a hierarchy like I have told you earlier in one case, I have region, country. In country, I have region. In region, I have states. In states, I have district. Okay, something like this. Say I have India. In India, I have north. South. Under north again I have something like northeast. I have UP, Haryana. Okay,